go. Good evening, podcast world, and all those out there on Facebook Live. Time for another episode of Things My Mother Never Told Me. Can you say hello?
Hey, everybody. Sorry I missed y'all last time.
She was taking a little break. That's all right. Little R&R.
Mm-hmm.
We got another one of our special guests for you this evening.
Oh, yes, we do.
Miss Colette Douglas. Say hello to the people real quick.
Hello, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here and to be with you too.
Right.
All right,
We glad we
thank
was
you.
able to just get it scheduled and get you on there.
Oh, yeah.
So what we're gonna do is Tina's gonna read your bio,
Oh.
and then we're gonna jump into this. We're gonna ask you a few questions and let you tell your story.
Okay,
Mhm.
great.
All right, then. All right, then. Let's welcome this sweet lady right here, Colette Douglas, the creator of Elite Customer Service, LLC, has worked with individuals and companies in the area of customer service. Oh, so much is needed, and loyalty for more than 30 years. Colette is a gifted speaker, consultant, and coach. The strategies and concepts she perfected are integrated into the elite customer service training, coaching, seminar, and webinars. Colette understands the issues that organizations face in connecting with those she wants to serve. In her strength, kindness, and efficiency, she delivers just what is needed to clarify the right steps in training organizations and providing exceptional satisfaction to their customers. Colette received her Bachelor of Science from Central State University in Wilberforce, Ohio. She also received her MSA from Central Michigan University in Mount Pleasant, Michigan. She is a proud member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. She is eager to learn about the mission, vision, and culture of her clients and their companies before training and coaching begin. As a keynote speaker, consultant, and coach, she has experience in discussing the insights and understanding what customers really want, discovering what works and what does not work. She is proficient in showing all types of organizations the real secret to providing a great service experience, turning loyal customers into raving fans. That is something. Raving fans, huh?
Raving
All right.
fans, raving
Ain't that
fans.
about it.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you.
Now, one thing I want to do, because we always like to highlight our guests. You got your colleges in there, but where did you go to high school?
Roth High School in Dayton, Ohio.
All right.
Right.
Dayton,
All
Ohio.
right. Something new.
Listen, Nettie Lee Roth High School.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
the full name. Dayton, Ohio. That's right.
Cool. Sounds good to me.
Yes. Yeah.
So I guess we'll jump right in with both feet. What made you get into this customer service area?
Hmm. Well, as you may or may not remember, I am a retired wealth advisor. And that means that I had clients who had at least $1 million available to invest with me. If you had less than that, you didn't come to me. And so when I retired, and all of my clients had my personal cell number, I wasn't smart enough to give them a separate cell number. When I retired, many of them called me to say, hey, you know what, Mrs. Douglas, since you retired, we're not getting the service that you used to provide for us. We don't know what's going on with our portfolios. And these were businesses as well as individuals.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whether you have $1 million or $10, you deserve a level of respect, a return phone call, and being kept apprised of what's going on with your money.
Right.
So after so many of these calls and me referring them back to the organization I retired from, it dawned on me that there's a serious problem here and there's a gap. And I have the ability to fill that gap because I acquired many of my clients on word of mouth. And they heard from their friends and associates that, you know what, that Mrs. Douglas, she really knows how to stay on top of things, and she's very proactive, because the bottom line is you don't really need an individual to invest your money for. You can do that on your own.
Mm-hmm.
The difference is the service that you give and being proactive enough to stay on top of things and understanding who your client is,
Right.
giving them that level of service that they deserve.
Right.
So that's how I landed up starting this consulting firm, because I was great in retirement. I was okay.
Right.
Yeah, you know, don't bother me, but
Right, because
You saw the need. That's right.
right, because I remember that you had retired
Yes,
And then the next thing I knew, you were working.
I'm working. So I failed at retirement.
Well, no, not necessarily.
Okay.
You know, one of the things that I always said when I was working is that work gets in the way of doing what you really want to do.
That's true.
It gets in the way.
It does.
And especially when it's for somebody else.
And not
For
only that,
somebody
if
else.
you love what you're doing, you don't call it work.
That is correct. And the irony is that I loved being a wealth advisor because when I was younger, I always said I was going to grow up and be a stockbroker.
Right.
So yeah, I love doing that, but then I also love being retired. But now that I'm doing this, I love the idea that I am in full control of who I'm going to take on as a client and, you know, all that kind of thing.
Right. Sounds good to me.
I mean.
And so let me see here. I underlined a couple things here. Okay, so I know I saw it was a video of you doing a presentation at a seminar.
Yeah.
So how does one get fully both feet into that area where you are booking clients and
Yeah,
doing
how you get your
seminars
clients.
and
How
such?
do I get my clients? Is that your question?
That's part of it, yeah.
Yes.
Believe it or not, I get my clients by way of referral.
Okay.
Still,
Really?
this very day, by way of referral. And then I am on LinkedIn. And so we get a few clients that way as well. So what happens is that someone will perhaps be at one of our seminars or workshops or whatever, and then they will come to me and say, can you come to my company?
Okay.
We have nonprofits who come to us. We even have churches who come to us and say, can you give us some leadership training, or can you expound more on this one thing that you talked about with our company or with our group? And so that's how people find us, basically.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so I guess then the biggest portion of it was being willing to do it.
Absolutely. You know, the bottom line is this: you have to love people. And if you don't, people can sense when you're just kind of putting them on, or you're in the case when I was a wealth advisor, you're just talking in order to make the sale, so to speak. We have something in our DNA that can detect that.
Right.
But when you have a natural affinity for what you do and for love of people, there's that magnetism that's drawn to you, and people want to hear more about what it is that you do, and they want to receive your wisdom, and they want to receive how they can understand better how they can be better in their jobs or in their companies. For example, let's say that, you know, you and I have the same kind of business, and we are fairly close in from a geographic standpoint with where our businesses are located. I am a little bit more expensive. My fees are a little bit more expensive, but you, on the other hand, not so much, but you don't treat your clients as well as you could. So sometimes customers will leave you to go to a competitor and even travel farther, quite frankly, and pay more in order to get that better client experience. It's all about, you know, the facet of understanding how to treat a client. I say it's gold standard customer service. Think of it this way, and I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but think of it because it presents itself. Think of it this way. When you think about going to the Ritz-Carlton, for example, you know for a fact that you are going to get white glove treatment no matter what.
Right.
And it starts with how the Ritz trains their employees. For example, they call their employees ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
So it all starts there. And because they are respected and they are honored, that's going to transcend to how I'm treated as a guest at the Ritz. So it all depends. Again, it goes back to that natural affinity for what you do and the love of people.
Okay.
That was a long answer to your question.
Hey, I love it because that's definitely important.
Because one of the things that I, before you went there, I was thinking is that how do you determine how you set your price or your fees?
Well, we customize everything. All of our training is customized. And as I stated earlier, sometimes organizations or individuals will come to us with a specific problem. For example, there was an organization that was having a lot of trouble with insubordination within their organization. So we had to peel that like an onion. And I had to go in and ask them, well, first of all, why do you think that is so? It boiled down to there's a lot of nepotism in that organization. So because there's nepotism, the subordinates felt like, well, I'll never get ahead, so I'm going to do what I want to do, and I'm going to talk the way that I want to talk, and you need me, so I've got you hooked, and deal with it. So we had to walk through that. We had to muddle through that. And we had to, sometimes we go in with the hard sayings and we have to tell them specifically, this is the problem. It's not them, it's you. We don't say it in those words, but you know, you are the problem. And if you want this problem eradicated, our recommendation is to do this, this, and this. And it's not a one-step thing. It's not a one session thing. This is going to take time because this problem has existed for a number of years and it won't go away in a number of months. So.
Yeah, and unless you believe already that the problem has something to do with you,
That's right.
It's going to take a minute just to convince them.
It will. Let me give you another example. We went into this organization who was losing a lot of lower level employees. So we had the CEO to sit in the position of the receptionist for a day, the busiest day of the week, the busiest week of the year, or the busiest week of the month, the busiest month of the year. Yeah. He didn't last 3 hours. And what he realized, he was basically almost in tears, and he realized, I am not only mistreating you, I am disrespecting you. I don't even understand what it is you do. And you have done so much that I didn't realize. And Sheila ended up getting a promotion and bonuses and so forth and so on. It took a lot to get him to sit in that position. Because you know how many CEOs are going to do that, right? But we convinced him that it was in not only his best interest, but the best interest of the employees and of the company itself. And that was one of our greatest accomplishments.
Okay. Was this a small business?
This was a business of 50
employees.
Okay. 50 employees.
Well, I'm glad he finally saw the light.
We are too. And that continues to be a very positive situation. That's one of the things that we do. We have constant follow-up with our clients.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Sure, because you know we're in this evolution of things changing, particularly post-COVID. So we want to make sure that they are following our prescription, if you will, and they're doing all the things they need to maintain, if not to thrive even more.
Yeah, I was just wondering how you track your effectiveness.
Oh yeah, organization. We certainly follow through.
So another question is how large a staff do you have?
Well, we have 1099 employees. Okay. So we have 5 facilitators that are available at any given time. Okay. So if I am doing something, let's say in Georgia, at the same time that something needs to be done in Indiana, we can cover that. Okay. And so we always, we have also a reserve, if you will, that we call on if we need more than the 5 facilitators. Okay.
Oh, okay, man. I didn't know. I thought you were just only local, but you all over the.
We get around, but in a good way.
You get around.
and so with your contracted employees, do you train them or
absolutely? Yeah, yes. They have to know the ECS way, elite customer service, ECS, the ECS way of delivering training, and from a business etiquette training standpoint, customer service, table etiquette, you know, all the types of training that we provide for everyone, because we provide business etiquette training for the high schoolers, for the college group, and so forth.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's a good time for a segue. Because you have a youth etiquette training thing.
We have a youth etiquette training platform. Yes, we do.
Yeah, that's something that you wanted to go over today, wasn't it?
Well, we think that it's important to particularly educate and coach the underserved in our community because they are competing on a global level, just like everybody else.
Right.
And because there are so many shortcomings, they're over-policed, they're underserved, they're all these things, that we feel it's incumbent upon us as a company to make sure they have all of the insight, they have resume preparation, they know how to interview well. And I was just before this, I was on a meeting just before this, and we were explaining how there are certain questions the interviewer will pose that will trick them as an elimination process.
Yes.
And so we familiarize them with those kinds of things. We talk about whether to shake hands, whether it's appropriate to shake hands, who should extend their hand first if it's appropriate, whether it should be a fist bump or an elbow bump, how to engage in conversation, whether it's the president of the United States, the president of the college, the president of the whatever it is, or whether it's Uncle Sam or Aunt Millie or Uncle Joe or whomever it is. How do you engage in serious conversation and maintain that engagement despite distractions? So we role play a lot. A lot of our training is very interactive, and we use highly unusual tools for we use
like I need to take the class.
They were saying, we've never been in training where we use a hula hoop. I'm like, because you've never been in the ECS training, dear.
No, that's right, because that does help you stay focused.
Right. So I'm assuming, I don't want to give your secrets away, but I'm assuming that you have them doing something that's a distraction.
Oh yeah,
and making them stay in character. Yeah, that's good.
And I'm glad you mentioned character because, and I know we're going to get to this. One of the things that we were talking about a little bit earlier about how to manage an angry customer, right?
Right.
And whatever you do, you must remain in character.
Right.
Now, one of the things that we train as far as character is concerned, we use Disney as an example. Okay. So when you go to Disney, Goofy is always going to be Goofy. Goofy will never be Minnie Mouse. Minnie will never be Mickey. Right. They always remain in character. And the thing about this, a lot of people don't know, is that, those underground tunnels that they have to get to the various parts of the amusement park.
Right.
They have to remain in character as they're going through the tunnels.
Wow.
Yes. So even though they may not be wearing the heads and everything, if they're wearing the rest of the costume, they must remain in character of Goofy or whomever they are. If they see litter in the amusement park, Cinderella has to use her wand to pick up the litter and put it into the receptacle. And yes, she gets a standing ovation for putting garbage in the garbage can. It's bananas. But that's one of the things that Disney has learned to do to provide that, as the happiest place on earth. I mean, although that is subjective, yes. I would challenge anyone to say, hey, listen, I've had all these horrible experiences at Disney, whether it's Euro Disney or Disneyland or whatever it is. You're not going to find anybody who's going to say that. I would challenge anybody to find someone.
Right.
So, but Disney puts in a lot of training into their employees to ensure they understand this is what it's all about. Yes. And Disney has taken it even to the point where they provide their training to other companies.
I know other companies always go there. Yes.
They
surely do.
So, it's very expensive too. But getting back to, managing that angry customer, remaining in character, remaining calm, a modulated voice, making sure they understand that you understand what they're saying. So you're going to paraphrase what they're saying. You're going to keep your temper, even though what you're not going to tolerate is abuse, whether it's verbal or anything else. Right. At that point, that's where you get security or, some higher level. Yeah. And so, but to quell that, you use certain words like, okay, we're going to be a team because we're going to figure out how to solve this problem.
Right.
First of all, let me thank you very much, and use your personality.
Yeah, thank you very much
for presenting this problem. We didn't know it was, but between the two of us, and you're talking to the customer, two of us, Mr. and Miss Customer, we're going to solve this problem. And you want to respond quickly. And then you want to not only fix the problem, but do it in such a way that it never repeats itself.
Yes.
It never ever repeats. And then what you do is you're going to follow through with that client with a phone call and then with a handwritten note to say, Mrs. Customer, just wanted to follow up on my phone call to you. And I want to thank you for bringing that to our attention. We have made the changes in our policy or in our procedures or whatever it is and everything. And then a box of chocolates if they're not allergic, whatever it is, not necessarily to brown nose, but again, you want to take that angry client and make them a raving fan.
Yes, there you go, the raving fan.
To make an angry client, convert them into a raving fan, because they're going to say, you know what, I went over to that business over there. Nobody has ever done that before.
Right.
You know, and even do it over the phone, or a lot of things are online. Reach out to them. Don't let the chat bot do all of the communicating, because at some point, human interaction is required.
Is required,
Well, you know, to your point, like you said, it's not brown nose. You know, one of the problems we have in our community is that we think it's weak to be kind and overboard kind to people. We think that's weak, as opposed to that's just being human and giving good customer service. I give you a quick story. It happened 100 years ago, but I always talk about this when I'm talking about, when I get into conversations about customer service. We had contracted this business, local bit, you know, as a Black-owned female over on Livernois. She did printing, and we would have an event, and we went to her company to do the printing. And I specifically asked, can you do this? I gave them what I had. Can you do this? Oh yeah, no problem. We can do it. When I went to pick it up, it wasn't what I asked for.
Oh.
Now it looked good. Oh. It looked good, but it wasn't what I asked for. And so I was saying, well, this is not what we want to have. The owner of the business, she immediately started yelling and screaming. And the crazy part was just she and I in the building. And I said, so I thought about, I was real young. I could have did the same thing, but it occurred to me, that's not the way to handle this. So I said, excuse me, is there a reason why you're yelling at me? Because I haven't raised my voice once to you. We have an issue here and we need to try to resolve it. And the beauty of it is when I did that, she realized that she was wrong. And so we were able to work the problem out because cooler heads prevail. But in our community, we have such a problem with being humble. I'll put it that. Yeah.
I think that if companies, whether it's mom and pop or whether it's a Fortune 500, I think that if we would learn to incorporate a philosophy versus a policy, because a philosophy is proactive, a policy is reactive. So if we would incorporate a philosophy about customer care and indicate that it is one of our major core values, put it on your letterhead, put it on your social media, put it in your press releases, make sure the public understands you have a philosophy about client care. And that includes how we care for our employees, because let's just be clear. If you don't have really good, strong employees and with core values and understand your core values, trust and believe your business is going to fail because they are front line to your clientele. You're busy running the business and you're out there trying to get more business, right? So the store is left to them. And if the inmates are running the insane asylum, you will not have a business to come home to. So when it becomes clear that this is our philosophy, I think that over time, we will understand this is the right thing to do. It has nothing to do with being weak. It's the right thing to do. And anyone who isn't doing this, then you need to avoid them.
Right.
And then you need to come over here, or let me give you somebody else to go to.
Right.
So when that becomes more the norm,
Yes.
I think we will have this problem solved.
Right.
Because you know what? I was in customer service at Blue Cross for quite a few years as well. And I was friends with everybody that came on my line, and they used to always say, hey, you taking too long with that customer and da 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 da. I was saying, but the customer's upset. She's had this procedure several times. We keep rejecting it. So what else am I supposed to do? I understand what she's going through. I've experienced that. You know what I'm saying? And by the time they get off, me and the customer laughing and what's that? I am trying to get to my next customer, but I got to make sure, and then I will follow up with her and all that. And matter of fact, she came in and baked the whole thing, whole box of cookies for all of us. And everybody was like, see that?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Right.
What you just described is one of the most important aspects of customer care, and that's empathy. When you show that you have empathy for your clients, that's how the word gets around, and that's how you develop a raving fan. That raving fan is then going to get off of that phone, they're going to call their girlfriend Myrtle. And listen, Myrtle, I know you're with Hannah or Humana or whatever it is. You need to get with Blue Cross when in your next enrollment, because let me tell you what my customer service experience was. And I'm sure everybody at Blue Cross is not like this. However, you may be fortunate enough to get someone that, like I had, that's how, and now you've got free advertising.
Right.
Now you've got free marketing. And then you know how people love to go on social media about this, that, and the other. Then they're going to go on social media quicker about something negative, right? When they have the opportunity to have that experience with you, now they're looking for more ways and opportunities to engage and bring on family and friends and everybody else and say, look, you need to do this right. How many times have you recommended somebody to go with, whether it's a movie or whether it's the manicure,
that word of mouth is quick,
or doctor or whatever, right? Precisely. And so when we again look at how we can be empathetic and smart, and not only that, how to prepare the client for the next pandemic. And the next pandemic may not be a virus. The next pandemic may be a recession. All right. Which means, and they're constantly increasing the interest rates 25 basis points at a time, a quarter of a percent at a time. What's happening now, money is getting expensive. That loans are going to be more closely scrutinized. So if you get in front of your client now, you don't have to be a wealth manager to talk about that. You can be selling widgets and everything. Is like, you come into Ace Hardware every other month and to buy this widget from my Ace, interest rates are going up. Mr. Customer. So what I would like you to think about is this, and this, because what that means is that the widgets are probably going to go up in price too. So let me just give you a little bit advance warning. You see, communicate, just talk to them. Then thirdly, what you want to do is you want to understand your customer's industry. You want to understand their company. You want to understand their product. You want to understand their service, and you want to understand their competitor.
Right.
So that you can then still get you're thinking 3 to 5 years ahead of the game. And listen, your competitor over here doing this, your industry is doing this, your competitor is probably going to do this right here. Now we know that you are better than your competitor, and we're not saying you need to mimic, but what we are saying is that you need to consider this over here to continue to be a front runner in your industry, so that everybody else continues to follow you. You will be a trailblazer. So you'll be blazing out and everybody be eating your sloppy seconds. So you want to, think about those kinds of things. How are you going to prepare your client for the next pandemic? How are you going to stay on top of state-of-the-art training for your own team so that you can deliver the best service to your client?
So speaking of pandemics, how did you navigate through that?
I am so glad you asked that question. Let me tell you what happened. So with our business plan, we had a plan that 5 years out, we would be 100% virtual. Well, the pandemic said, you getting ready to do this right now.
Right.
So fortunately, we already had a game plan and we had the skeletal outline of how to get that done.
Right.
And we were fortunate enough to make it happen quickly.
Okay.
I am very fortunate in that I have mentors who represent different industries.
Mm-hmm.
And they took an interest in me and my company many, many years ago. And they are my sounding board. Okay. And I will bounce things off of them that may sound in my head a little bit silly, but I am comfortable enough knowing they're not going to laugh at me. Mm-hmm. They're not going to get on social media and tell me, you know, that idiot, I don't know how she was. So, but what I have found was that I was right on track, particularly with the virtual training thing, because that was well before COVID was even thought of. And this was someone in the automotive industry who was saying to me, we were thinking the same thing. We need our employees to have virtual training because we can't afford for them to be away from their desk in 4-hour training or 8-hour training or 1-hour training. So yeah, you are right on point. Yeah. So that's how we were able to navigate the whole COVID situation.
Right. And you know,
you kept that brand alive.
Right. And you know, the thing about COVID is that it came along, if there's such a thing as a perfect time, at a perfect time. Yeah. Because a lot of folks were on the outskirts of virtual, because you know, when I retired, I was only going in the office 1 day a week.
Yeah.
And so, but I was retired when COVID hit. But the folks who were still there, many of them were already working from home. Mm-hmm. And then there were others who had to get used to it, but the ones who couldn't, they still had to come in office. So,
and what's happened is that the employees really have the advantage, particularly the high performers, because many of them are saying, if I can't continue to work hybrid, forget about it. I'm out of here.
Right.
Well, these companies don't want to lose them.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So depending on, you know, what area they work in, I'm sure you heard about GM laying off a few thousand people.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So if you're not AI focused or you're not doing a job that is dependent upon AI, you know, okay, it was nice, but bye. Mm-hmm. So they recognize who the high performers are and who they need and what they need for the next 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's very, very smart. And again, the next pandemic could be any number of things.
Yes.
And depending on who you talk to, some folks will say we're in a recession now, but officially we're not.
We're not.
But that is the next pandemic for a lot of small businesses.
Yes.
And that's a lot of our clientele too, small businesses.
Okay.
You know,
right. Right. And to your point, it just goes to show that we need to be concerned with being high performers all the time.
All the time.
Because you never know when you're going to need to pivot, but by the same token, you never know when they're going to say, okay, we need to let some people go.
That's right.
And
you know, it also means that we have to know how flexible we can be.
Mm-hmm.
And in that flexibility, how are you flexing? What are you flexing to? Mm-hmm. And the thing that you are flexing to, is that reliable? The thing that you are pointing to, is that something that is marketable? Yeah. Is it something that is needed? Is it filling a gap? Mm-hmm. I go back again to the client. When we finish with a training, mm-hmm. we write a white paper.
Okay.
And also we leave them with customized materials that we have developed.
Okay.
Before we go into that training, we will show them an outline of what we're going to do based on previous conversations.
Mm-hmm.
We say that if you're going to hire us, but you're going to put this information on the shelf and not use it, we don't want the business. We don't want the contract. Now, many people will say, well, that's money you can walk away from. And well, yeah, that's part of our core values.
Right.
So it's very, very customized and it's very involved before we even take on a client. And some folks will say, well, you know, it doesn't take all that. Well, for you,
right.
Take all of that.
Mm-hmm.
We're very much a boutique type of consulting firm. So even though every genre and industry really needs customer service training, we don't provide it for every industry.
Okay. There you go.
We're not for everybody. Because I said, sometimes we go in with hard sayings. You know, we're doing some work with one of the universities and they asked us to come in to do some multi-generational training in the workplace. And so we went in to the preliminary meeting saying, these are the things that are happening in multi-generational workspaces. And we're going to come in with some very hard sayings. Are you prepared to receive? Are you prepared to receive the truth?
Okay.
And they looked at us like, what in the name of it many do you mean by hard sayings? What is that? So, you know, we broke that down in terms of, these are the real things that happen. And when we started giving examples, they're like, that really is happening where we work. I'm like,
That's
yeah, because you're in that industry and we know, we study your industry. And so we know are things that happen. And so, you know, they bring us in and, you know, we do our training and all that, and we do our follow-up. And oftentimes we have to do a one-on-one with certain employees to ensure that they get it.
Okay.
For corrective training.
Wow. Sounds good.
Now you talking about customized.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, you almost get to a point where you know as much about their business as they do.
Oh, you have to study it. And that's what I mean by state of the art and being 3 to 5 years ahead. If I study, let's say I have a tier 1 or a tier 2 automotive company as a client, I know that they are looking at things 5 years ahead of time to supply their client. Well, I'm looking to supply them, the tier 1 or the tier 2. What do they need in terms of business etiquette training or whatever that is. So I'm always looking at what the training aspects are and for different industries.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So this looks like a good point for me to ask you this question that we talked about. So you've seen a lot of stuff. You've experienced some things and you've seen some recurring things. Have you discovered or encountered anything in your walk in this work or even your previous career that your mother did not prepare you for?
She did not tell me how evil and ruthless people can be, particularly business people.
Okay.
She didn't tell me that people who say they love Jesus and they go into heaven are liars and will steal from you, will lie on you, and will be jealous of you and try to destroy you. I mean, literally try to destroy. She didn't tell me that. She told me to watch out for folk, but it was very general. But she didn't get down to the nitty gritty and give me the specifics about just how evil and reprehensible people can be and create subterfuge. Yeah, she didn't tell me about that.
I guess she didn't need to tell you about that. that would be kind of scary, wouldn't it?
It probably would never go out of the house if she had told me that.
But it's the truth, though.
It is true.
It's the truth.
It is true. And you know, you learn how to navigate those situations, and you know, you pray and pray and pray, but at some point you got to get up off of your knees and you got to put feet on those prayers and you put it into action. You have to put your faith into action and some things happen and ask for wisdom and discernment and everything. And God,
that's right.
Because you know, I'm not in prison. I have not killed anyone. So you know, he told me exactly what to say and what to do and how to handle certain situations and what to avoid. Oh yeah.
Right. Okay.
I'm speaking to my good ear.
And speaking of that, I mean, how do you handle your clients that have mental illness or mental health issues?
My clients who have mental, I can't say that I have clients who have mental illness.
No, but how do you go about
the training
there for the mental health issues there?
You may know Dr. Byron Douglas.
Okay.
We heard of him.
He is one of our 1099 employees. And so aspects of our training that does require him to go in and to facilitate and to do some training based on his expertise and his education. Yeah, so
Okay.
Okay.
I know where to pull them in and
Ah,
what folks to pull in and
Right,
for
right, right.
particular situations and
Right.
everything.
Well, you know, he's been a 2-time guest on the show, so.
very true. And like
Right.
you said, that mental health is mental issue
It's
is real.
real.
It's
It is
real.
It
real.
matters. It matters. You know what I'm
It
saying?
does matter.
Right.
And it reveals itself every day, it seems like.
Every
day.
day.
So
Every day.
throughout the day, it seems to reveal itself.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
one form or the next.
Right. No matter where you are. It's
No
just-
matter where you are
right,
in the
we are
world.
in the world. Yeah.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Mhm.
So what is I'm trying to figure out how to word this. What is something that you would say people listening would absolutely positively need to concern themselves with when it comes to etiquette in the workplace?
I would say understanding how to listen. Understanding how to actively listen. And that means to not judge. It means not to anticipate what that many people are visionaries, but I've yet to see a visionary who could tell me exactly what I'm thinking. So when asked a question, allow the person to answer uninterrupted. Give them eye contact, give them enough respect to finish their thought before you interrupt, because believe it or not, that is a great irritant, particularly if someone has difficulty finding their words, if they stutter. You know,
there you go.
You have to be patient. Otherwise, don't ask the question. Leave them alone. So again, and then that goes back to empathy too. But I would say being able to listen is absolutely key.
Okay.
I think that to just couple that with something else is that if you're looking for raving fans in your company, ask them for the hard sayings. Ask them to be critical. Ask them if you had an opportunity to change something about this company and the way we deliver our product and or service. Give us detailed information of what that would be. And you know what you're getting? You're getting free advice. You're getting free advice from the people you actually have paid you to deliver that product or service.
Yeah.
But in return, what they're getting is a refined product and or service based on their input. Now they're your team member.
Right.
Now they're part of your inner circle.
Right.
Now they're part of that raving fan audience, and now they feel like they're family. They're included.
Yeah.
I always say, you know, you hear a lot of times where companies say, well, we have a loyalty program and here's the punch card and you just punch 50 slots and you get a keychain. That's not a loyalty program.
Right.
A loyalty program is first you being loyal to them. You understanding your client, and they have 2 kids. One plays soccer, one plays softball. And then you're sending, you know, the soccer player, he kicked the winning goal or whatever. And you send one of those little trophies paid like $10, $15 for, you know, go to the trophy store, get a trophy and hand deliver it to the kid. And the family's like, way to go. You're such a champion. Look at you. I can't wait to see what you're going to do next year. Now, again, you're building raving fanship is what you're doing. But you got to do it genuinely.
Right. Right. Right.
Got to do it for real.
Yep.
And I can't wait. And you're going to the game and this, that, and the other. I got invited to more bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, funerals, weddings, picnics. I had my little social card was so full with my clients that I barely had time. And Byron, I'm telling you, I barely had time. Boy, you at work again? I was like, I'm doing this with my client. But I loved it because we were family.
Yeah.
And so that's what you want. I would say listening is so very important. And when someone sees that you are actively leaning in and listening to what they have to say, that is so important. You are getting so many points with that. So I would say listening is very, very critical.
And I'm glad you say that, because I had that old saying too. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth.
Yeah.
And we should listen twice as much as we speak.
Amen.
I sure
Right.
did.
That's right.
Well, you know, as you were saying that, it occurred to me that it's easier in the line of work that you're in. It's easier to work with people that you like than people that you can't stand.
Amen.
Because it's hard, and you know, I like that little trick. The little trick. Ask them what do they need, what do they think is wrong.
Yeah.
Because if they can't say that something's wrong, then why did they call you?
Exactly right.
Mhm.
Exactly. I agree. And then do that with your employees too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, when I worked at General Motors back when dinosaurs roamed the earth,
Mhm.
there was something that they had called a suggestion box.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
don't know that the suggestion box exists in companies anymore.
Right.
But I think it's so important to receive the suggestions of your employees and let them know that you have read it. Let them know that you're considering it.
Mhm.
Then ask them more questions about their suggestion. You'd be surprised how that can help your business
Right.
to thrive.
Yeah. Even if you don't plan on implementing it, at least let them put it out there.
Because I remember when we had that, and like you said, one of the questions, what if you own this company, how would you change it? How would it, you know what I'm saying? What would you do differently?
Mhm.
Stuff like that.
Well, a lot of times people can't even answer that question.
Well,
And-
if we in a particular area though, and it's confined to the work that we're doing too,
Right.
that's
Well, I say that because people complain all the time about where they work.
Yeah, they do.
Or where they're involved, but they have no viable or no idea of what's wrong and what they're just complaining to be complaining.
That's right.
We had a few of those, but we also had those when you give good suggestions, money value placed upon them too.
Yeah.
Rewarded your award because you saved the company this amount of money.
That's right. That's what
brought
GM
them
did.
more customers, you all that.
Yes.
Yeah. They would look at the profit and then a certain portion of that.
Right. And to your earlier point, that makes them feel like they're part of the team.
Well, sure it does. Sure. I mean, how many of us would love to work for a boss that showed interest in us, interest in our development, interest in our opinions, groom us, who would take time from their busy schedules, sit down with us at least for 10 minutes, stop by our desk and say, hey, listen, I understand, you know, you won the bowling match. And well, how'd you do that?
I heard
How many years you been bowling? You know, just show, again, a little bit of empathy. And because of us would love a boss like that. And kind of, how many of us would love to go to wherever, you know, Ace Hardware or the beauty salon or wherever it is and say, listen, I heard that you started a business and I have some people that I would like you to talk to help grow your business. And how many of us would love that? I support you. Why can't it be reciprocal?
Right.
It's
You know,
just
this
like
law of reciprocity is real.
Yeah.
So we have so far to go.
Yeah.
As far as, you know, being good servants, and there's great money in serving. Let me just say this. There is great money in that. And it is great satisfaction to serve. I mean, Jesus was here to serve, not to that's what he said.
Glad you mentioned that. Yes.
I'm here to serve. I am. And so what greater servant is that? So if we pattern ourselves even after him, even if you're not a believer in Christ, but pattern yourselves after what he did as a servant, farther along would we all be?
Right.
Say it.
And you know, and that's a very big point you just made. You know, it's not about religion or that. It's about being kind to people just because. How about that? How about let's be we don't want nothing in return. You a person, you know, because I often tell young folks that when they talk about this respect thing, that they got it wrong. Why should I respect you? I don't know you. That's why you should respect me.
That's why we train in etiquette.
Right. Respect is to me, respect is not something you earn. It's something that you lose. Until you do something wrong to me, why would I not respect you?
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Makes no sense.
That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. That whole piece just goes so many miles. And that's why we do the etiquette training for youth. We
Yes.
have a group from, I think it's, 10 to 14 or something. I have to look and see. And then we have another group, 15 to 18. And then we have our young adults. And then we talk specifically about what etiquette is. It's social behaviors. What is acceptable social behaviors? And we have to help them understand that it is okay to say please and thank you, to open the door for your elders, to not say words that's not in the 23rd Psalm in front of your elders, or in front of one another.
Right.
To understand that there is great value in self-satisfaction when you do that, because now there's self-respect. When you do that, again, it's a magnet for people to respect you.
Yes.
People watch you, even though you may not see them looking at you. People are always watching you. We have an opportunity. We're going to be going in, talking to 45 young girls, high school girls, next month, and we're going to do a deep dive into this etiquette thing, and helping them to understand what it is to be a lady. And you don't have to be hard to let somebody know you don't take anything from anyone. How do you carry yourself? How do you respect yourself? You want the boys to respect you. How do you respect yourself?
Right.
People treat you the way you train them to.
Yes.
And so when you don't have self-respect because you're so insecure that you're going to be called something other than what you are, then now we need to deal with that. But you have to understand that it is so critical to carry yourself a certain way. When you walk into a room, the room should know you are there without you even uttering a word. And that's not arrogance. There's a way to carry yourself so that the aura presents itself that a lady has just walked into the room.
Right.
And so we're going to do a series all day.
Okay.
We're going to do a deep dive on that.
Right. And to that point, so nobody get it twisted. In a good way.
Right. In a good way, people.
In a good way. Because some people come in the room and everybody wish they leave.
Right. Exactly.
So could you give out the information where they can contact you concerning?
Yeah, I am on Facebook at Elite Customer, on Twitter at Elite Customer, on YouTube at Elite Customer Service. We're on Instagram at Elite Customer _service. And so let me give you my phone number, good old fashioned phone number, which is 734-203-0040. And our website is elite-customer.com. And if you want to send me an email, it's info@elite-customer.
All right. All right.
I'm telling you, that was a lot of information.
That was a lot of information, right?
I love it. I mean, that's what our customers need. You know what I'm saying? And and speaking of a brand, Amazon.
Okay.
They had, I had my niece this weekend.
Okay.
And I wanted to make this hamburger cake.
Oh, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, so it was these, so something for us to do, because, for us to do. And I ordered from Amazon.
Okay.
These 6-inch cake pans.
Okay.
And I ordered them from them because I couldn't find any at Michael's and any of the other stores. Everybody has the 8 and the 9, and the 6 is really a specialty cake pan. So I ordered them from them because they was going to send it to me the next day.
Oh.
I said, oh, I can get this and we could do this cake this weekend.
Right.
But when the next day came, no packaging.
Uh-oh.
They sent me another email 2 days later saying there was a delay. And I was like, she gonna be gone.
Oh, no.
You know what I'm saying? Because the weekend is over.
Right.
And then I paid a special extra charge
so
I can get it for the next day, like they said. And so when it didn't show up, and I was like, and I was telling them about it, I was upset because I was like, I done missed the opportunity. They told me they can do it. And I'm like, this is Amazon. But you know what they did do? Even though they sent me the pan, you know, they charged me extra because they sent two of them. I don't know who had got the wrong thing, but they sent me before I could even gripe about it. They said, hey, we finna put this delivery charge back on your into your account because we promised you that, and we couldn't deliver it to you on that time. And then we're going to reimburse you for that. Before I could even gripe, because Damon said, you ought to call them. But then I looked at my email. They had already sent me saying, we are so, they apologized for it. And they was going to put it back in there. And they returned the other one. They going to I was like,
goodness.
They was ahead of the horse. They had definitely
right.
And they had got up on it, and then I was like, "Now that's great customer service." They apologized and everything,
because they want to keep you.
They
want to, and they're trying to remember their brand because their brand is known for being very much on time because they will deliver a day earlier than what they said. And so they want to keep that customer base. And
they really was. I was about to gripe and call what's the name, but they didn't even give me the chance. They had already sent me the email and said, hey, we didn't do what we promised. It was late, and so I told them kudos to you.
Yeah, well, good for they saved face.
Because And I was like, I told my niece, I said, yeah, we'll do it this weekend then.
See? Okay. Yeah.
A couple
that was good. I'm glad that worked out.
Yeah. So I was about to ask you, did you train some of their people?
No, I did not.
So I got a couple more things and then we'll let you be on your way.
All right.
One of the people listening in, Reverend May Alexander, she said, if one doesn't have tolerance, patience, and love for people, they should not be in any position that requires customer service techniques.
This is true.
That's what she said.
And then she threw a rock. I find most of supermarket cashiers need training in customer service, especially our younger generation. But it's the truth.
It is so true. And what is sad is that we've gone into several franchise restaurants, fast food restaurants, to offer our training. And we recognize that they have their own corporate training, particularly if they're a corporately owned franchise. But if they are not a corporately owned franchise, they can not only do their corporate training, but in addition, they can take on third-party training, but they won't do it. So some of the larger, fast food restaurants are some of the ones who need it the most. And it is amazing that they constantly will say, oh, we got this. We understand. We know, we got this. But no, you don't. You don't have it. But what they rely on is that people will always go to those top 3 fast food restaurants, no matter what, because the kids want it, or they have the best fries over here, they have the best burgers over here, they have the best steak over here. So sometimes it's a very difficult barrier to penetrate. But and she's right, the youth definitely need it, and that's why we have our youth etiquette training.
There we go. And so I'm looking at it because I got your webpage up.
Okay.
Certified Women's Business Enterprise?
Yes, I am.
Tell us about that real quick.
That means that any organization, any company that is looking to fill a contract specifically with a woman-owned business that falls within the category of training that we provide, they will go to us first before going to somebody else. Now you got to be qualified. They're not just going to hire you and say, because now I got this slot filled because I got a woman business enterprise here. You got to come with the goods. You got to know the stuff, and you got to be able to take care of business. So that's what that means.
Okay. Yeah, because I see you got a lot of kudos on here. Certified. So I'll give you this. Is there something you want to leave the people with?
Say, make sure that if you're in business, understand your why. Why are you in business? Are you in business just to make money? Mm-hmm. Are you in business to sell a good product and a good service? If you are, understand who your client is. I say personify your client. So I know who my clients are. My client is not going to be General Motors and McDonald's. My client is going to be, a company that has no more than 200 employees. Okay. So know who your client is, know what kind of product they provide, what kind of service they provide, and know who their competitors are, and go in and tell them that you know these things. Dialogue with them. Don't be afraid to share information with them and share ideas, and then tell them what they already know. I read the press release about you coming out with a new widget. I want you to know I am all for that. And as soon as it comes out, I'll be buying it too. And I'll be sharing that with some of my friends and family. Let them know that you know who they are, and let them know that you are available to be a great servant to them.
Okay. Okay.
White glove service is what you provide. Because you have a philosophy about client care.
I like that too.
Philosophy, not a policy, but a philosophy.
Yeah, client care.
Yeah. We're not gonna forget that one.
Customer satisfaction. Right, yes.
Philosophy. You got anything else for?
No, that was it. She put out all the details. I love it.
Right. Well,
what good customer service is.
Yes, is. Well, we're gonna thank you for your presence on the show today. We appreciate it.
I appreciate the invitation. Thank you so much.
And we expect bigger things for you in the future.
I received that.
I know that's right. Soar, lady, soar.
Oh, real quick. Did you make it to that meeting with the vice president?
No, with the governor.
With the governor?
I did. It was phenomenal.
All right.
It was absolutely fun. It was such that I didn't expect it. I was invited, and to sit down with her and to listen to her heart and to look her in her eye.
Okay.
See her heart in her eye, that she was not just, being robotic about what she was saying to me. And that made a world of difference. I have a whole new level of respect for our governor, Gretchen Whitmer. Yeah.
Big Gretchen.
She is who you see in the media. She has a very, very good heart.
Okay. Yeah, and I know you judgment a good character, so hey.
Yeah, I had to ask you that because that's the first reason we had to postpone.
That was the first reason.
Yeah.
and like I said, when I talked you in, that was a good reason.
Yeah. Yes.
It's a good reason.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. We want to have people on here who move in those circles.
Well, you all move in pretty important circles too now.
Well, we trying.
Yes, indeed. When I grow up, I want to be like you all. I get to be a big girl.
Well, thank you for the compliment. Thank you for sharing all that information to our fan base or our Facebook world.
Right.
Absolutely. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you, because you made me smile too and brought joy.
Feel free to share that flyer with your audience too, because we would love to provide that training.
Okay.
We'll do. Yeah, we're going to put it out there. And that's why I had you do the information, because Brandis put it out on our feed.
Great.
Yeah. Great. And so we'll be seeing you when you're in town.
Okay. We'll see one another soon, hopefully this summer.
Oh, yeah. Or on the golf course.
There you go. Yeah, I'll have to work on my game a little bit to golf with you all, but
I'm average. I get lucky every now and again.
That's all we want is a little bit of luck every once in a while.
Every once in a while, absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. Virtual hug.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for coming.
Thank you again.
Yeah, I wish you all the best.
Yes, you too, sweetie.
We appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Tell Doc we said hey.
Yeah.
I will do that.
All right.
Bye-bye then.
Okay, take care now. Bye-bye.
Oh, that was so good. I like it. I love her.
Can't find mine. That's over there.
I was like, dang. I didn't.